When are you fighting Tom?
I was waiting for it. UFCI and Tom, we all got a lot of folks behind the scenes. They're one of the biggest organizations in sports. And right now, Tom and I have agreed to
clarify. You said that Jon agreed to fight Tom, yeah?
Jon agreed to fight Tom?
Is that what you just said there? Before, like on the last answer, you said.
Jon agreed to fight Tom, yes.
So he hasn't signed the contract.
You're right. Yeah.
So that's
I mean, you guys have heard me for the last however long. I said, I guarantee you this fight's going to happen. This fight's going to happen. Fight's going to happen. You guys told me the crazy shit that was going on Instagram and all these other places. But yes, I've been saying.
Finally, Jon Jones has accepted the offer to fight Tom Aspinall, responding to the outcry of over 200,000 UFC fans who signed the petition. But he didn't do so without issuing a warning. The UFC heavyweight champion has been relentlessly trolled, insulted, and criticized for previously declining the fight.
Call me a gun, call me a chicken, call me a goat, call me a dog. Got a knife for it anymore, guys. And girl, man, I've been feeding the gym. It's funny that you really live in a world where you call me dog. Shouldn't thank you.
He feels deeply disrespected by how fans have handled the situation despite his contributions to the sport. And as a result, he issued a warning to both the fans and Tom Aspinall, declaring that he will undergo a full training camp for the fight, to prove once and for all that he is the greatest of all time.
And I would still be in the same place. I've beat people my whole career, and once I beat them, like the show just goes on. I get that Tom is an exciting fighter. I get that finally, after 16 years, we found somebody who's 7 years younger than me and 30 pounds bigger than me. Like, we finally found someone who may give me a great challenge. Everyone wants to see it so bad, but for me, it's like, what is it? What's in it for me? He changes his
heavyweight champion who has been active on X used his favorite platform to deliver a clear message to the UFC world. I'm taking the fight. I've accepted the offer. I don't have a date yet, but it'll happen after I do a full training camp. And trust me, it's going to be violent.
This Jon Jones thing is what a lot of people are talking about. I wonder, is there anything that PFL or Francis could do to make that a realistic option for you guys, or are you fully focused on Aspinall?
Yeah, it's Aspinall's fight. We've been talking to the kid forever about it, and
this comes after Jon Jones faced fresh insults and criticism from his greatest UFC rival, Daniel Cormier. In fact, it's possible that Jones accepted the offer following Cormier's latest comments. As someone who knows exactly what he'd do, in Jones's position, Cormier recently found himself back in his longtime rival's crosshairs. Jones launched a Twitter storm in response to the public backlash for not fighting UFC interim champion Tom Aspinall. As ESPN analysts and podcasters, both Cormier and fellow MMA veteran Chael Sonnen have repeatedly criticized Jones for dodging the Aspinall matchup. That criticism prompted Jones to fire back, tweeting, "Jon Jones whooped both of y'all. But, hey, why not team up on a podcast and gossip about my life? Meanwhile, I'm out here making your annual salary in a week. Stay busy."
Okay, so I feel like narratives have been created that just truly aren't there. You can't duck a man that you were never scheduled to fight. It's like saying you got turned down by a girl who you never even hit on. You know what I'm saying? It's like me and Dana and Hunter have never sat down and talked about Tom Aspinall. He's never been on my radar. I mean, just a moment ago, it was him and Sergey that was fighting. Sergey could be in
all this other stuff going on around the fight. You're talking about Francis Ngannou. You're talking about Chael, Cormier said on his YouTube channel. You're talking about everything except the one thing that matters. Doing the right thing. And the right thing is to fight this kid. If you beat him, which is very possible and even likely, you get to shut everyone up, just like you've done so many times before. Nothing feels better to a guy like Jon Jones than beating the opponent people thought would finally take him down and then saying, "What did I tell you?" That feeling is sweeter than any title. But for that, he has to be willing to take the risk and step in.
Jon Jones just won't. He pressure. Just pressure, guys. He's on the pressure, and I don't even know what I did to him. Look, we did this a couple weeks ago, and thought we were done with it. But finally, it seems as though it's reached a little bit of a boiling point. Now, there's things from both sides, and we will get into that as the video goes on.
Cormier added. I can tell you guys with full confidence, if I were still fighting today, and still the heavyweight champion, and Tom Aspinall was the #1 contender, I would have already fought him, 1000%. Cormier explained that the mindset he carried throughout his career meant that the danger of facing someone like Aspinall wouldn't scare him. It would excite him. Seeing someone across the octagon who could potentially beat me or knock my head off would have only pushed me to train harder, train smarter, and be more prepared than ever before, he said. That's how I would have handled it. But what it's doing to Jon Jones is very disturbing and honestly hard for me to understand, because in my mind this guy is a fighter. I've seen him prove it time and time again.
But first and foremost, a couple weeks ago I said to Jon Jones, go fight Tom Aspinall, leave me alone. I thought it was good. Chael and I host a podcast. Chael and I are on The Ultimate Fighter together. Chael and I are tasked with talking about the biggest news in the sports of mixed martial arts. It seems as though Jon Jones does not like being talked about by two of the biggest voices.
Cormier took particular offense to Jon Jones boasting about his wealth and seemingly belittling the financial status of both him and Chael Sonnen. He revealed that he was recently offered the opportunity to coach opposite Jones on a reality show, role that ultimately went to Nate Diaz, who later left the production after a chaotic incident. Cormier also claimed to know how much Jones was paid for filming the show in Thailand, which is why he questions Jones's claims about making more money than others in the sport. I know what Jon Jones made in Thailand, Cormier said. I was offered to coach the show with him. Still, Cormier acknowledged Jones's stature in the sport. Jon Jones's resume is impeccable. His accomplishments match up with, if not exceed, everyone else in the business. His star power, his ability to sell, and his knack for drawing attention all rival anyone in MMA outside of Conor McGregor.
Chael and I were discussing Jon Jones last week on our show. I think it was ESPN, and it prompted this. First off, very weird. All right, talking about yourself in the third person. It really is. But John tweeted this. Jon Jones whipped both of y'all. But hey, why not team up on a podcast and gossip about his life? Meanwhile, he's out here making the Jon Jones role. So I'm going to pull the curtain back for you guys. I know what Jon Jones made in Thailand. I was offered to coach this show with Jon Jones in Thailand. Jon Jones's resume is impeccable. Jon Jones's resume matches up, if not exceeds, everyone.
Daniel Cormier's resume matches up with anybody in the business, Cormier said. Daniel Cormier brings eyes like anyone else in the sport. Daniel Cormier can do and get just about whatever he wants. And now I'm talking. Like Jon Jones, he's got me speaking in third person, he continued. So yes, all of that is true. So when they came to me and said, hey, we'd like you to coach this show opposite Jon Jones, knowing the history between you two, they had to come with a strong offer that would really pique my interest. Cormier ultimately declined the offer, which is why he wasn't in Thailand. Let's say I turned that down, he said. If that money was truly more than what I make in a week, considering the jobs I do, don't you think I would have jumped at it? Nothing would have stopped me from taking that opportunity. Jon Jones doesn't make more money than me in a week. He makes more money than me when he fights.
Jon Jones's star power, his ability to sell, matches up with anybody in the business. Jon Jones and his ability to bring eyes matches up with anybody in the business outside of Conor McGregor. But guess what? Daniel Cormier's resume matches up with anybody in the business. Daniel Cormier brings eyes like people in the business. Daniel Cormier can do and get just about whatever. Jon Jones, knowing the history, they have to come with a nice offer that would pique my interest. Let's say I turn that down. If that money was more than I make in a year, in a week, with the jobs that I do, Wouldn't I have jumped at that opportunity? Nothing would have stopped me from going to get that opportunity. Jon Jones don't make more money than me.
Like many fans, Cormier isn't accusing Jon Jones of being scared. He fully acknowledges that the light heavyweight GOAT and all-time pound-for-pound great has a strong chance of beating Tom Aspinall, but he also believes it's only fair that Jones gives Aspinall the opportunity to prove otherwise. There's always a moment where the new breed comes in and surpasses the old breed, Cormier said. Jon Jones knows that better than anyone. He's surpassed both the new breed and the old breed multiple times throughout his career and title reign. He's one of the greatest champions of all time. He's beaten
me when he fights. And that's it. And that's it. Outside of that, he ain't getting what me and Chael getting from ESPN, The Volume, DraftKings, Total Wireless, Pro Sparks, Monster Energy. We over here eating. So that's just false. That's false. It's almost like that time the Young Bucks, this wrestling team, said to me, we're selling out arenas. I'm like, well, I did too.
Guard, Vitor Belfort, Mauricio Shogun Rua, Quinton Rampage Jackson, Jon Jones put all of them in the rearview mirror. Then he moved on to the next wave. Rashad Evans, Alexander Gustafsson, and Daniel Cormier, himself, all of whom represented the newer generation at the time. He didn't stop there. He took out Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, and Dominic Reyes, consistently pushing back each rising threat. Cormier then reflected on Jones's transition to heavyweight, where he dominated Cyril Gane and is now set to face Stipe Miocic, another legend of the sport. He's beaten them all, Cormier said. He's constantly pushed back every new wave of challengers. But now there's one more wave. And no matter how many times you've done it before, there's always a real possibility that eventually it catches up to you, because nobody escapes this.
Well, I definitely believe the fight will happen. The fight will happen this year. Seems like Jones is up for it. Seems like the UFC want it to happen. I mean, they said to Tom Aspinall, it's a done deal. It's going to happen. And it would just be such a shame if that fight didn't happen. I think it's going to happen International Fight Week, Las Vegas 2025. But what do I know? I'm not basing that on any inside information. Excuse me. I'm not basing that on any inside information. I know what you know. When Joe Rogan said apparently he wants $30 million, good for him. He gets paid that money. I hope he does, and I hope he gets to see the fight. And if it isn't 30 million, maybe it's around that. Maybe it's 20 million, 25. Maybe it's more, like you say. I think the demand for this fight will be there. I think it's incredible that in this day and age, we're talking about these kind of fight persons being involved in mixed martial arts. I said this in my video when I started MMA. Talking pre-UFC, when I first started like regional level MMA, everybody said, if you're getting into this sport for money, you're in the wrong sport. And
Jones has managed to stay on top longer than most could ever imagine, navigating his career with remarkable success. But at the end of the day, there's always another young, hungry contender waiting. And Tom Aspinall deserves his shot at the greatest. If you're truly the greatest, you take that fight. That's how it works. Former UFC women's bantamweight champion Miesha Tate believes Jones is avoiding the matchup because he's not confident he can win. I feel like Jon Jones is ducking Tom Aspinall, Tate told Esports Insider. I think Jon is an incredibly smart man and a technician. He knows when he sees someone who would be difficult to beat, and I don't think he's confident that he has the tools to put Tom Aspinall on the mat. So guys, subscribe to my channel for more fresh updates.